Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about the Dreyfus Affair. And the Dreyfus Affair is an example of anti Semitism in France. Anti Semitism is a hatred and persecution of anybody of the Jewish faith. Now, Dreyfus was a French soldier, and the French were defeated by the Germans. And he was falsely accused of passing French military secrets to the Germans. Now, in this illustration, you can see Dreyfus standing at attention as his officer's sword is snapped, a insult on the knee of a commanding officer. And this was done in front of the French army. He's going to be sentenced to life imprisonment. And it's going to be found out later that Dreyfus was innocent and all the accusations were made up. He had his insignia on his shoulders also ripped off and thrown on the ground. Okay, and he was labeled a traitor. And this was done just because of his religion, because he was Jewish. So in 1860s, French society was divided over the case of an army officer named Alfred Dreyfus. Dreyfus was accused of being a traitor. The charge was made mainly because Dreyfus was a Jew. Many people believed the charge was true, but it was really false. Dreyfus was found guilty under some forged evidence. Now, here's a illustration of Dreyfus in court. And if you notice, there happens to be a cross, a symbol of Christianity behind him. And Dreyfus's religion, he was Jewish, so a lot of people think he was set up just because of his religion, and this was an example of anti-Semitism. Okay, Dreyfus was never proven to be given military secrets to the Germans. It was made up. Okay, the issue became known as the Dreyfus Affair. A few years later, evidence showed that Dreyfus had been framed. He was later declared innocent. So he was set up with false information just because he was Jewish. This is anti-Semitism. Now, Dreyfus's officer stripes were ripped off his shoulders, okay? And this was done in front of the French army. And he was sentenced, remember, under false evidence to life imprisonment. So the Dreyfus Affair revealed anti-Semitism, a prejudice against Jews in Europe. Okay, even in other European countries like in Russia, anti-Semitism was very bad. The Russian government even allowed organized attacks on Jewish villages called pogroms. And it was also happening in other countries, France, Germany. And in the 1880s, many Jewish people fled to the United States. In the 1890s, a movement called Zionism began, and it was a goal to make a separate homeland for Jewish people in Palestine. And that is going to be Zionism. And the Dreyfus Affair also showed a need for this. Now, this was Dreyfus's hut when he was banished to a French prison on Devil's Island in French Guiana. So Dreyfus was here for 5 years, living under extremely harsh conditions in a prison island in a French colony. Now, here's anti-Semitic riots that were happening, and these people are rioting against Jewish people, and they are burning, looting stores owned by Jewish people. This is anti-Semitism, and it was a hatred of people that had the religion of Judaism. Okay, here's another Zola faces the mob. Okay, and Zola, he wanted to open up the case again to prove that Dreyfus was framed. Now, this is Theodor Herzl. He's a person who started the big Zionist movement to make a homeland for Jewish people. And Israel was actually set up as a free, independent Jewish state. And here's some other facts. You can pause this and take a look at them. Dreyfus was eventually